Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today's show is brought to you by Heshi Socks, Heshi socks.com. Listen, we've talked about these socks before. They're the best socks, the most comfortable socks, the most stylish socks. They're very, very good socks is what I'm trying to say. And guess what? Valentine's Day is coming up, Lewis, and we're going to flip the script. Never mind going out there and buying presents for them. Buy yourself some decent socks. Here's one thing. I see people, I think you got to up your sock game. Socks are part of your clothing, okay? Part of your attire, part of what you show people out there. They sit down, I see mangy socks, I see scummy socks, I see smelly socks. I'm like, dude, you need better socks in your life. I went through a phase of shitty socks until I went to heshysocks.com. Everywhere I go now, everyone's like, dude, where did you get your socks, Lewis? Where did you get your socks?
Well, you have a very high-class circle that you roll with. So this is the type of people, when you go into their home, you have to take off your shoes. See, where I grew up, there was none of that. We actually have you put on extra shoes. We're like, you know what, dude? These floors aren't dirty enough. You need to make them more dirty. But where Michael Bisping hangs out, always people pulling off their shoes. I get embarrassed. I go to Bisping's house. I pull off my shoes. I have holes in my socks. They smell. There's no cushioning on the heels, the middle of the socks, the soles, none of that, okay? Crappy, shitty socks.
We had to fumigate the house after Lewis was here. I'm telling you, they stunk to high heaven.
It wasn't good, okay? They weren't antimicrobial, the socks that I had. They weren't made with high-end Pima cotton, okay, which is highly breathable and absorbent if you have sweaty feet like myself. That was a lifestyle that I was leading. But guess what? Heshi Socks
no, hold on.
And more.
Your socks weren't even antimicrobial. Microbial, which kills the bacteria and keeps your feet from stinking. That's what I said. That was my biggest problem. I'm like, dude, Lewis, your socks aren't antimicrobial.
You know what your wife said? Your wife whispered to you, she goes, I think his socks are pro-microbial. And I was like, and I heard her say it. And I ignored it. I ignored it.
We heard it. We talked about it that night when we went to bed. I said, his socks, I mean, Lewis, great guy, good guy. But those socks, I don't think he's ever heard of antimicrobial. He should be embarrassed, Lewis. Anyway, people listening, if you got bad socks, Lewis, tell them how to get involved with a great deal.
Here's the deal. Go to heshysocks.com. That is HESHISOCKS.com. Grab yourself some amazing, crazy comfortable socks that look, feel, and smell great. Use the promo code BELIEVE30 and you save 30% off your entire order. 30% off. That is 1/3 off your entire order. That's a pretty incredible deal. heshysocks.com is the website. BELIEVE30 is your promo code. Okay, let's start the show.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the up.
And new undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael the Count Bisping.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
Here we go. It is a UFC 234 pre-show. Believe you me, it's the first time we're ever doing a pre-show show.
It is the first time we were doing a pre-show show. But is this really a pre-show show? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't feel like we've sat and broken down all the fights and we've talked about the prelims and all the rest of it. But we will be discussing, of course, UFC 234. Breaking news this morning happened, all that type of stuff. But yeah, is this really a pre-show show?
I don't understand what you're talking about. Yes, it's a show that we're doing before the UFC 234. It's a pre-show show. It's all it is.
It's a show before the showing of UFC 234, but this isn't a UFC 234 pre-show. Like, oh guys, we're gonna be breaking down the fights. We're gonna be giving you our thoughts on the prelims. We're gonna be breaking down the opening fight on the card. You know, we're not. I mean, it is coming up before UFC 234. The prelims are happening right now. So technically, you are correct. But I feel in the context of a pre-show, it's not a UFC 234 pre-show. I mean, if you want to see that, you go to ESPN Plus.
I mean, in by that standard, then every show that we've ever done has been a UFC 234 pre-show. So yes, if you want to be a dick about it, they're all UFC 234 pre-show shows that don't actually talk about UFC 234. This is a better.
The first ever Believe You Me podcast was a UFC 234 pre-show.
They all were.
Technically.
We're actually naming this one the UFC 234 pre-show, without a doubt. And
Beautiful.
And look, we're going to talk about UFC 234, obviously. Look, if you want to hear the in-depth breakdowns of UFC 234 and the preliminary cards and all the other fun stuff that's happening, you're right, this probably isn't the show. But if you want to crack open a beer, smoke a joint with some friends, drink a little bit of whiskey, if you're about to start UFC 234 and you don't want to be an asshole and be a fucking nerd, who's trying to like sit down and read facts and figures right before you want to relax, you have friends over, this is the type of show that you want on before UFC 234.
100%. If you're in a house right now and you have multiple levels of technology, you have smart TVs, you have laptops, all that type of stuff, and perhaps you got the fights on, but you want a pre-show going on, kind of like Joe Rogan does with the the Fight Companion, it's up to you. You can go to ESPN Plus and you can watch Ariel Helwani, Gil Melendez and those guys, or you can watch us and actually have a good time and enjoy yourself. I'm not shitting on my colleagues from ESPN Plus. I'm just saying that I'd rather watch me. That's allowed. Here's
the idea. Actually, brilliant idea right now. Go to ESPN Plus. Watch Ariel Helwani and Rashad Evans and who I'm guessing now, and whoever else is on there right now, okay? But just turn the volume off. Nobody gives a fuck. Give them the click at least. We want to give them their ratings. Have us on, though, and then have the fights on at a third screen. So you have us as sort of the audio commentary. We're making you laugh. We're having a good time. You're hanging out with your buddies. And then you have all the other stuff going on. That is a perfect setup.
I feel like we've got to tread carefully. I just started working for ESPN and we're borderline shitting on their product, which we're not doing, of course. Love Ariel, Gilbert Melendez, all those guys. They do a great job. I'm just saying, if you're a believer, you could do that with us right now because technically, and in your context, it kind of is a UFC 234 pre-fight show, but the fights have started. Anyway, a lot of big news this morning, but I just want to talk about my son right now. We were supposed to start a little earlier. I just rushed in. It was the CIF California Interscholastic or something like that. It's a big deal. CIF finals for today. Callum, 2-day tournament, breezed it, just won the final a moment ago, jumped in the car, drove down here like a madman. But congratulations to my son. Little bit of drama in the final. And the guy kind of clipped Callum around the head. Callum lost his cool. And then he ended up winning the match. As he's walking off the match, I'm trying to take a picture of him as the winner of the 2-day tournament. And he's like, no, and like shooed me off and like kind of like barged past me. And I said to my wife, I said, Jesus Christ, he's got a temper. I said, oh yeah, I wonder where he gets it from. But like, this is mild-mannered Callum. Callum, when you get back, 20 press-ups, buddy.
That's right. So he was a little heated. Well, that's great. Congratulations to Callum. And I saw your daughter celebrated her 16th birthday as well, which is incredible. Good for you guys. The family, you guys are killing it, man. It really is. You have a very beautiful family. You should be very proud.
Well, thank you very much. Just because a birthday happens, I can't claim to be killing it. It's like, it's a birthday. We're fucking killing it. We're so successful that we have birthdays every year in our house. I'm assuming that everyone listening to the UFC 234 pre-show, they all have birthdays as well. But I appreciate the sentiment of what you're saying, Lewis. But it's
very,
screw it. I'll take the credit.
Very, very disrespectful to a lot of our African listeners who don't celebrate as many birthdays. I don't know if you've ever been to the jungles of Africa. You don't know how many people are there that aren't celebrating their birthdays. Maybe take it for granted, Mr. Bisping. There could be some person in a hut in Pakistan somewhere that they're not just out there having a fucking, I saw where you took your daughter to a beautiful restaurant for her birthday. That's just not the life of everybody else.
Hold on, for one, I don't think they live in huts in Pakistan.
They do.
Okay.
You know nothing about their culture. Very disrespectful to the culture because you know nothing about it. Do a little research.
I'm pretty sure they don't live in huts in Pakistan. I'm just throwing that out there. And just because they or anyone less fortunate couldn't celebrate their birthday doesn't mean the birthday isn't happening. You be a miserable bastard all you want. If you don't want to celebrate it, that's on you. But on that day, that same day every year, it's always your birthday, Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, look, sure. I guess if from the enlightened, privileged Bisping perspective.
And fancy restaurant. We went to BJ's, which is like a little burger joint. It's a sports bar. We did not go to a fancy restaurant. And like a true 16-year-old, she invited some friends with her, and they sat at a separate table.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, well, I even said, I said, invite some friends. I said, don't worry, I won't cramp your style. You can sit at your own table.
What?
You know, you can have your own little mini birthday party. I wanted her to enjoy it, you know?
And then you and your family sat at a different table and you watched them have fun without you?
That's exactly what we did. We cried a little bit, you know. we paid the check for everybody. I'm like, yeah, enjoy that fucking pizza. I hope you choke on it. I'm like, okay. Shit. And then they wouldn't even let us sing happy birthday. And then I told, here's Ellie texting me now. My daughter's just texted me. She's upstairs with a friend. She might be going, Dad, I can hear every word you're saying. Hold on. Oh no, I'm going to my friend's house. I'll be out. Okay. No, I said to the waitress, by the way, that table there, that's my daughter. It's her 16th birthday. You know, can we get like the candles and all that stuff, you know, and bring out the free dessert? She said, oh yeah, cool. But I meant together. I meant let me know about it so we can sing happy birthday. And then she just turns up at the table with the little cake with the candle in, and the waitress ruined the moment, okay? And it was reflected in the tip. I'm just saying. I'm like, Jesus Christ. You ruined it. 16 years I've waited for this birthday.
But she didn't want...
moment, and
your daughter didn't want like a sweet 16 party? She's not that type of girl.
She isn't. She really isn't. I offered, at one point there was like talk of a party bus and this and that and going somewhere. But
party bus?
Yeah, a party bus to a location, you know, have dinner, have some time and, you know, whatever. And I said, okay, that's great. I will do that. I will organize the party, no problem. But as long as everybody meets at our house and I can get a picture of you and all your friends outside, all dressed up, and I get a nice picture and we can do a cake, you know, before you leave, and you can go off with your friends and have nice, civilized 16-year-old fun, right? And that was the deal breaker. So A, we're not all coming here and you're getting a picture. And B, we're not planning on having civilized 16-year-old fun.
No,
okay,
not at all.
So
if they want to fucking show up at a heroin den to pick up a bunch of drugs, get onto that bus and go off into the fucking mountains and do whatever the hell. They do not want any cameras. They don't want you to be anywhere around. I'm glad you ditched the party bus idea. I got to be honest with you. That was not going to end well.
Maybe that's what they do in Puerto Rico, Lewis, okay?
Maybe.
At 16, they're not looking for heroin dens, okay?
Who knows? Who knows? At 16 years old, these kids are crazy.
Not. Hey, so see my point earlier about the UFC 234 pre-show. You think Ariel Helwani's talking about his daughter being at a heroin den?
Yeah, well, if he had, you know, if he understood what the people wanted, he would be having this conversation. Who's on right now? Yeah. Who's fighting right now, Harrington? Harrington just showed up now, fucking late, by the way. Whenever he decides to walk in.
Well done, Harrington. Who is fighting right now? Keep me abreast of the situation.
Also, you see my shiner?
Lewis, you're an official tough guy. Oh, yeah,
saying,
baby.
Dog, you see, look, I got a little bit of cauliflower ear. Look, it's not a big deal.
Oh.
It's not a big deal. What did you say, Mr. Bisping? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Were you saying something?
Can you not hear me as well because of your minuscule cauliflower? Bizarre.
I'm just saying, you know, got a little bit of a bug. The injuries from war. It's not a big deal. It's just part of life. You know, just part of.
Remind me how it feels. It's been so long since I've been involved with any form of combat. I'm out of place. I've forgotten, Lewis. I don't know what to tell you. But I will tell you this. Lewis, that unfortunately, I mean, listen, any champion in this world, when they win the belt, they never stay champion forever. Okay, every single champion, no matter how good they were, cannot keep the belt forever. Okay, and on the night that I lost my belt, after that, you know, world record-setting stint of the longest reign as champion ever, on the night that it did finally happen, because it always happens, on the night I lost my belt, I went and had a couple of weeks of enjoying myself, and then I heard that Kelvin Gastellum needed an opponent because Anderson Silva had dropped out due to steroids. And me being the man that I am, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'll save the show. I want Kelvin Gastellum to get a paycheck. I want all the staff at the UFC and everyone involved in the production. I want them to get paid. And everyone else on the undercard, from the first fight to the main event, I want those people to still get paid.
I remember you saying that. By the way, I remember you saying you told the UFC you didn't even want to take any money. They forced you to take the money, and you were like, "I just want to save the show." and you just wanted to do it. But we didn't even talk about that. But fine. You're letting the cat out of the bag now. It's fine.
I know, because that's not important. That's not why I do it. I don't do it for the glory. I don't do it for the appreciation. I'm just trying to help everybody. Listen, I've made my money, and I'm like, no, these guys on the undercard in Shanghai, they need this event to go ahead. So what did I do? I flew out to China, and I took on Kelvin Gastellum to do him a favor, okay, which I've still never been thanked for. But the point I'm making is that at such short notice and so ill-prepared and still probably carrying the concussions and the injuries from said fight before when I lost, I flew out there and I was willing to take that fight. But Robert Whitaker couldn't do the same thing. Me.
Yeah. Well, look, it might be, it might be a cultural thing. Nobody, you're married to an Aussie. They're just not as tough. It's just a fact.
They're not as grateful.
What happened with Robert Whitaker? He weighed in yesterday. He didn't get hernia between yesterday and today. I mean,
I don't know. Listen, I'm no hernia expert, but the hernia has to start and occur at some point. So it may have occurred last night. Perhaps we should, Harrington in the background, perhaps research this as I attempt to piece it together.
Harrington has a little bit of information already. He looks very cocky.
The hernia... he's there. He's all full of bluster. He's like, I may have been late, but I came armed with a Wikipedia breakdown of what causes a hernia and the full description of what happened to Robert Whitaker. At this moment in time, I'd like to hand the reins over to Harrington.
Well, thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. I was just checking out Twitter earlier, and I saw Ariel Helwani actually gave the best description of what happened. Basically, he said last night at some point during the middle of the night, Robert was feeling abdominal pains, and eventually he started vomiting. That led them to rush him to the hospital. Apparently, this has been a nagging injury dating back to last summer in the Yoel Romero fight. And that when the doctors did some tests on him, they said this needs to be operated on right now, immediately went into surgery. So he was in surgery, I think, when the news broke.
Wow.
So he's known about this for well over a year, and he chooses the night before the fight to take action. I'm just saying, I flew out there with a concussion after getting choked out, no training camp whatsoever, nursing a hangover. I'm like, yeah, I'll take the fight because I worry about the little people. That's why I did it.
Talking about people,
and he's known about this injury for a year. Yeah, no, all right, listen, all joking aside, I am devastated by this news because I was really, really looking forward to Whitaker versus Gastellum. Of course, Robert's a great fighter, and I'm sure he has. Well, it is a legit injury, as Harrington just said. He's having surgery, but man, I mean, imagine Kelvin Gastellum right now. He must be very pissed off.
Well, that was the other thing, right? I guess Kelvin Gastellum, what was his response? I know they were looking for an opponent for him, or I had heard they were looking for an opponent, but according to Kelvin Gastellum, he tweeted something, right, Brian? You told me something earlier. I don't remember.
Yeah, his manager said they had no discussion about finding a new opponent for him.
No discussion about finding a new opponent for him. Oh, my God. I mean, how devastating is it? It's your title shot. You're right there. You go through the whole training camp. You're in another country. It's also not like a fucking another country that's easy to get to. Going to Australia is a goddamn nightmare, I've heard. It's not the most comfortable, situation to begin with. This has to be devastating for Kelvin.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, as you say, it's a long flight. It's an inconvenience, all that. But that's not what he's thinking about right now. Pardon me, the old wife beater is making me belch. But you go all that way down to Australia. You do the training camp. You're on a roll. And let's not forget, if you follow Kelvin Gastellum on Twitter, for the last couple of years, it's been on a mission or on a quest for gold. Okay. And fair play to the guy. He's done really well. And he beat Jacare and somehow by fluke beat this underprepared, malnourished version of Michael Bisping, So he's been on quite the journey. And here he is, a chance to fight for the belt. And yeah, I mean, that's going to hurt. Of course, will he get paid as well? I mean, because it's not a given. I believe that the UFC aren't obligated. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they pay the fighter out of the goodness of their own heart. But if this happens, they don't have to pay. I remember Tony Ferguson when Khabib dropped out that time. He never got all his pay and he kicked up kind of a fuss, which, you know, if it's a lot of money, you got to understand it from the UFC's perspective, but you understand it from Kelvin or whoever it is perspective. You've done the work, you've shown up, you've done your side, you want to get paid. So, I mean, that's a whole issue. So on multiple levels, you got to feel for Kelvin Gastellum. Regarding another opponent, I saw a tweet. I saw Dana discussing a tweet. Donald Cerrone tweeted, "I'm in Australia. I'm fresh. Let's go." Which you've got to admire Cerrone there. And Dana went, "That's why we love Donald Cerrone. Yeah. The day he hangs it up will be a sad day, but I don't know if he was serious or joking." It's like when John Jones got pulled from UFC 200. I tweeted, "I'll fight DC." And I was kind of joking. If they'd have taken me up on it, I'd have done it. But I was only joking because it's a win-win situation. You're probably not going to get the fight, but you get the public credit. They're like, wow, this guy's a badass. This
guy's a monster.
He was willing to fight him on one day. But you know in your mind, the fight's not going to get made, but you still get that props.
I'm going to start tweeting that. I'm willing to fight DC right now. Are you kidding me? Look like a fucking monster.
You're injured, bro.
It's true.
You're injured. you got cauliflower ear. You got a black eye.
My hip's fucked up too. I don't even know what's going on with my hip. I'm an old man, dude. It's over. It is over. I think this is the last year of me trying to get back in shape because every part of my body is just falling apart. I'm just going to be a fat guy. I don't care.
No, I don't want to hear that. Don't say it's the last year of me trying to get in shape. I hate to say it, but you sound like Mrs. Bisping there. That's what she says. I'm done. I'm done going to the gym. I'm like, no, you fucking not. No, you fucking
You don't want to hear from your wife. You get in the fucking gym right now.
That's it. I'm done with going to the gym. I'm done with trying to eat healthy. I'm like, okay. So what you're saying is by next year, you're going to be 50 pounds heavier. Yeah. Love you to bits, but, you know, a little bit of self-respect, please, Lewis. And I'll say the same to you.
Well, it's so funny because with your chick, you can't and you can't just tell her to go to the gym flat out. So you have to you'd have to subtly act like it's about health. And you have to motivate you, we've really got to, we've got to be living a healthier lifestyle. But in the back of your mind, you're like, just fucking get to the gym. Don't get fat.
So Lucas is the biggest mummy's boy you've ever met in your life. He really is a true mummy's boy. And he just adores and worships his mother, which is beautiful. It should be like that. Busts my balls constantly and won't give me any credit for anything. And I've told Lucas that if you go to the gym, you live longer. So he's on Rebecca's case constantly. Mommy, you got to work out. You got to go to the gym. So Smart. Lucas is doing my dirty work,
I love it.
There you go.
Very nice.
All right, let's just take a second to talk about Organifi. And specifically, Organifi Turmeric Gold, Lewis. This stuff, I consume this every single day. Now, turmeric gold has so many qualities that you want to involve in your day-to-day life. Potent anti-inflammatory and an antioxidant. It helps repair muscles and it supports the body's natural healing process. Every day for breakfast, I have the same thing. I have a protein shake. I put some berries. I put some spinach in there and I put in a nice big scoop of Organifi Turmeric Gold. Tastes delicious, easy to consume, straight in the body, Lewis. Immune system boosted all day.
Incredible. Yeah. I mean, Organifi is an incredible company that has a bunch of products, but you told me about the turmeric gold and I started taking it recently. My girlfriend's been taking it recently. Makes me feel great. If you guys do a little bit of research on how it can benefit you, it has so many amazing anti-inflammatory and antioxidants components. It also has been known to help improve symptoms of depression and arthritis. And if you listen to this show, you might be depressed. So you know what? Turmeric gold might be for you.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I mean, the benefits are endless. They really are. And of course, they have a variety of products as well. They have green powders, obviously, all the nutrients from anything that's green without getting too technical. But, they got ginger in there, promotes a healthy response to discomfort from aching muscles and joints. Reishi mushrooms, the king of mushrooms, to enhance youthfulness and longevity. So I recommend these products very, very highly. And you should definitely give them a try. Seriously. Of course, we have a lot of fun in this podcast, but these products are fantastic. They're very, very healthy, and they're going to help you live a longer, better, more balanced life. So I highly recommend you go to Organifi.com. Check out their Organifi Gold to get started. As I said, they have lots of products that I highly recommend. So once again, go to Organifi.com and use the promo code BELIEVE for 20% off your entire order. Organ, Organifi, Organifi.com, promo code BELIEVE for 20% off your entire order. Lewis. Okay, right. What were we talking about?
Cerrone would step up. Is the McGregor-Cerrone fight absolutely official?
No, it's not official, but I reckon if Cerrone had taken that fight and had got beaten by Gastellum, which, you know, being the number one contender at a weight class above, you would have to expect that to happen. So if Cerrone was to got beat off Gastellum, then the Conor fight would be off. So maybe the fact that Dana didn't take him up on that offer and make that fight, that may mean perhaps we may see Conor versus Cerrone.
Well, Cerrone also on Instagram posted yesterday, good news, Notorious MMA, looks like we get to fight for the 155-pound interim title, Proper Whiskey versus Budweiser. Now, is that him reacting to the news that that Khabib was going to be suspended, and it was maybe assuming that? But what was that?
That is because Khabib said he's not going to fight again until his teammates, until they've served their suspension. He said, well, if they can't fight, then I can't fight, which again, we all know Khabib is a man of principles, you know, so kind of, what's the expression? Cutting your nose off to spite your face a little bit, but he's doing it for the right reasons. He's trying to stand by his team, which is commendable. And then Dana said, if that is the case, he said to Brett Okamoto from ESPN, he said, if that is the case, and I haven't heard that from Khabib himself, but if that is the case, then we will do an interim belt.
Wow.
So I think that's what Cerrone is referring to.
They're going to get they're going to get an interim belt around McGregor's waist. Then they love it. They love that. Oh my God.
ASAP. They're like, okay, we got it. Thank you, Khabib. We got the route. Conor's got a belt back. We were going to do 165, but now we're doing an interim. Fucking thank you, Khabib.
Conor was already wearing a belt, and he was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. All right.
Conor's going to walk up with 3 belts next time. Interim, champ, triple champ. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We have fights happening. Who is fighting right now?
Right now. What's going on?
Right now.
UFC 234 pre-show. What's going on right now? We have to give breaking news.
Kara France.
Obviously.
Just fought.
Love that guy.
Fought Peava.
Peava's the man.
It just ended. They're waiting for a decision.
Ooh.
Like. Are these men or women?
Cara France is an Australian man, and Paiava is a Brazilian man.
Damn it.
Well, listen, don't call yourself Cara and not expect a little bit of confusion, okay? Sorry, I'm not over, I wasn't familiar with the body of work that came from the exceptional Cara France, but Cara sounds like it could go both ways, okay? Could be a man, could be a woman.
It's a hyphenated last name, so it's Cara France.
Cara France. Look, I think Cara France got excellent fucking stand-up.
Landed 50 of 188 strikes.
Of course he did. I know. I told you he's got excellent
Not
stand-up.
very accurate.
49 of them significant, though.
49 of them significant. He just throws bombs. Haymakers.
Okay. Throwing those significant shots all over the place with reckless abandon. Cara France comes through from the behind victory for the win.
We don't know.
Decision. Very tough fight on the bookies. Everyone had him losing. He was a massive underdog. Came under here, said, "Listen, I carry the name Cara France, Cara hyphenated France with pride. I will win the victory in a significant way." God bless.
I think Peava won.
Peava won. Never mind.
Oh.
Who is this dangerous criminal that just walked into the studio?
Show me the camera angle.
Just some strange person that walked into our studio just now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Should we talk about what is now? I mean, hold on. Let's talk about Robert Whitaker. It's a shame for Robert. He hasn't fought for a while. What was the circumstance, Harrington? He pulled out of a fight in Australia because Romero and Rockhold, they fought for the interim 185 belt, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, Harrington.
But then there was no interim belt because Romero missed weight and Romero won. Right?
Yeah, why did Whitaker pull out last time? What was the circumstances? You remember, Harrington?
I do not.
Yeah.
Let me check.
Jesus, Harrington, listen, here's just a quick tip. In future, if you don't know, just make it a quick no. Sorry, I don't know. Don't waste 5-6 seconds of our time going,
or just pretend. I would have made it up.
I don't know.
He lost a foot.
Herpes outbreak. It was nasty. It was really.
He lost a foot?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They sewed it back, but he couldn't fight.
He has diabetes. You didn't know that about Robert Whitaker? It's actually pretty impressive that he's able to get as far as he has.
Lost it to a crocodile.
Yeah. Well, you know what, guys? Every once in a while, we're not good at making jokes on this show, and that's okay.
There's a reason why Harrington isn't a comedian, but I will tell you this, quick segue, quick cheeky little plug. If you're in the greater Toronto area, March 10th, the Great Hall, myself, Luis J. Gomez, tickets available right now, ticketmaster.com, or go to my Instagram, check the link in my bio. Check it out. Tickets on sale now. First of many. It's going to blow your mind. Going to blow your socks off. Anyway,
yeah, if you guys are going to be there in Toronto, I mean, this is the first time we're ever doing this live show. We're experimenting. We're trying it out. You guys are being a part of something very special because this is sort of the foundation of something that will be very big, moving forward. So come out, Toronto. I know we have a lot of fans in Toronto. I had so many people hitting me up about this, and it looks like I will be going, guys. I know people are like, "Oh, is Lewis going to be there? Is he not going to be there?" I'll full disclosure. I've gotten a bunch of tickets for smoking weed on the street in New York. And that makes it a process of getting out of the country. It's a fucking whole to do. So I have to get a temporary work visa. I've done it before. I've gone up to Canada to perform. So I'm just in the process of doing all that stuff.
Call yourself an American. Shame on you.
Well, isn't it crazy? It's legal. Marijuana is legal in Canada. It's legal everywhere in the United States. And for literally, that's what it is. It's for fucking weed tickets. They can turn you away. So
yeah. It is it's kind of ironic that it is now legal all over Canada, but yet that's the reason that you couldn't get in. Kind of silly, but I'm glad you're going to be there, Lewis, because
looks good.
You know, I ain't no stand-up comedian, and if I had to walk out onto a stage full of people by myself without you to, hold my hand, metaphorically speaking.
No.
In
reality, I'm going to hold that hand, baby.
No, that's after the show.
Yeah.
So that's good. So come check it out. I'll be talking about my life inside and out. Lewis will be there. We'll be busting balls. We'll be talking shit. We'll be doing a Q&A with the audience. So come along, enjoy the fun if you're in the area.
Yeah.
So Robert Whitaker, he hasn't fought for a while, and that's a real shame. Gastellum obviously is going to be very pissed off right now because the thing is, a lot of the time, training camps are often very unique. Of course, the fight is the same, but what version of said fighter shows up to the octagon every time might not always be the same. So for example, in this situation, Gastellum might have had the best training camp of his life. He might have no outside distractions, I don't know Kelvin's, I don't know if he's got a girlfriend or anything like that. I don't know what his personal situation is, but let's just say, he's got a girlfriend and all. Everything's smooth in his life. Everything's perfect. The coaches are all getting on. There's so many outside distractions that come into play that mess with the mind of a fighter when they're getting ready for a camp. So let's assume on this occasion, Kelvin is mentally and physically 100% perfect, right?
Right.
But the fight's been scrapped. Then they do it again. The next time, maybe not. Maybe he's feeling a little sick. Maybe he carries a little injury coming into the fight, So it's a shame for Gastellum. It's a shame for Whitaker as well. Commiserations to Robert. Robert's a class act. He's a great guy. He really is. I wish him a speedy recovery from the surgery, and I hope that fight gets matched real quick. Harrington, just look up recovery from hernia operation, how long that takes. But
this is a quote from Kelvin Gastellum. He said, let's see. He says, I showed up. He forfeits, so I win. He says UFC middleweight belt now belongs to him after Whitaker is forced to withdraw. What do you think of that? I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with it, but I understand his sentiment. As I just said, he's done a grueling training camp. You know, it's his first title shot. He's probably pushed himself to the limit every day. He's probably sacrificed everything, followed a diet to the T, hired a nutritionist, got out of bed, did his runs, did his road work, did his strength and conditioning, ran his hill sprints on a Saturday, pushed himself in sparring, brought in sparring partners, flew in sparring partners from out of state or whatever. You know, invested a lot of money into this, flies out to Australia for the fight not to happen. You know, when you put yourself in his position, having done all of that, you've got to feel for the guy. You really do. But on Robert's perspective, on the flip side, you know, you can understand it. Listen, he's the champion of the world. You've got to treat that with the respect that it deserves. And if he has got a hernia and he needs an operation, then listen, that's a legitimate reason for pulling out of a title fight.
I remember,
really is.
I remember when you defended your belt against George St. Pierre, you know, you were icing a nasty, nasty rib injury. I mean, you might have had multiple broken ribs. We don't even really know. But you know, you didn't pull out. You just said, fuck it. You threw a pack of ice on your ribs. You pretended it was a bag of potato chips on the podcast. And you went and you fought. You fought your heart out.
Realized dude, bro.
Realized dude of the week right there. What am I supposed to say?
You know, yeah, you're right. You did. I did. You know, and in hindsight, maybe that wasn't the right thing. But that's me. You know, I'm kind of old school like that. It's like, well, fuck it. You know, if it went off outside, I don't get a training camp and situations aren't perfect.
What I mean, do you think, in hindsight, would you have got? I mean, I don't think you would have done it any differently. I don't. But was the injury to your rib bad enough that you think that if you would have done it and, you know, not done the fight, went to another training camp, it might have been a different thing?
Probably. Had I had two functional eyes, that would have definitely made a difference. I would have seen
what if you were 10 years younger?
If I was 10 years younger, a little bit more musclier, you know, less scars, wear and tear, had I been knocked out a few times, two eyes and a full set of ribs, fuck, GSP has got no chance.
Imagine you were 20% faster, 30% stronger. What?
Oh my God. Listen, Lewis, let's be, you know, come on. That's ridiculous. Speaking of 30%, on Monday, we have Kamaru Usman has agreed to be a guest. I've been speaking with his manager. Kamaru Usman will be joining us and breaking down his title fight with Tyron Woodley.
Very cool.
Taking the show to new levels, Lewis, as we always said.
It's a big deal. Did you see this tweet from, I guess I don't know if it was a tweet from Chael Sonnen, but Chael Sonnen claims that he got permission from Bellator to fight Anderson if the UFC wanted to put Adesanya against Gastellum, which is just awesome. I love Chael to just, first of all, it's not true. Okay, it happened this morning. You couldn't get to Australia. It's impossible. It's an actual impossibility. There's no way to get to Australia on time for that fight to happen. But in true Chael Sonnen fashion, he's an opportunist and jumps in.
Yeah, no, listen, that's Chael all over to a T. Yeah, it's great. And that would have been interesting. I would have watched it for sure. I mean, Chael did pretty well in the Bellator Grand Prix, beating the likes of Quinton Rampage Jackson by using his wrestling. Of course, in those first two fights, it was the wrestling that made the key. So, you know, but we're not going to break those down.
All right, Mike, really quick, let's talk about Robinhood. Robinhood is an incredible investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free. While other brokerages charge you up to 10% for every trade, Robinhood doesn't charge any commission fees, so you can trade stocks and keep all of your profits.
Plus, the good news is that there is no account minimum deposit needed to get started, so you can start investing at any level. The simple, intuitive design of Robinhood makes investing easy for newcomers and experts alike. View easy-to-understand charts and market data, and place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone. You can also view stock collections such as the 100 most popular. With Robinhood, you can learn how to invest in the market as you build your portfolio. Discover new stocks, track your favorite companies, and get custom notifications for price movements so you never miss the right moment to invest. Robinhood is giving listeners of the Believe You Me a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you build your portfolio. Yes, I repeat, we are giving away stock in Apple, Ford, or Sprint. No other podcast is doing this. And
Merry Christmas, bitch.
And if they are doing it, they aren't delivering it in such an organic way that we are. If you sign up at believe.robinhood.com, free stock in Apple. Free stock in Apple. I mean, Steve Jobs eat your heart out all day. If you want to be Steve Jobs, if you want to rock around in a turtleneck sweater, right, look like a bit weird, but secretly be a multi-billionaire, all you got to do is go to believe.robinhood.com. Start trading on Robinhood. Get rich quick via the Believe You Me podcast. You know, what more do you want, guys? Thank you very much. All right, Lewis, back to the show. Should we talk about the main event? Should we talk about Anderson Silva taking on your favorite person, Israel Adesanya?
Fuck yeah. I like it. I love it. I put $100 down on Anderson today.
Did you really?
4-1 underdog.
BetDSI.com.
Obviously.
Promo code BYM120. $100 becomes 160. Lucy's going to be a rich man. Yeah, dude. I mean, you don't even need it. You're killing the game right now. You know, you got your own studio. You're touring all over the place. You're appearing at the Great Hall in Toronto on March 10th. Tickets on sale now. You're touring up and down the world. I mean, you got this nice new attire on. You're sporting a black eye and a cauliflower ear because you're a man of the people. But what you're really saying is, bitch, I'm rich.
I agree with everything you just said. Yeah, you nailed it. I'm pretty awesome, Michael Bisping.
In fact, nothing of what I said is a lie.
The sky is blue. I'm pretty fucking awesome. I'm killing the game. What am I supposed to do?
Water is wet, fire burns, and Lewis is a rich man.
I look, this fight's gonna be great. Did you see them crying at each other during the weigh-ins?
I did. You break it down or give me your feelings first and then I'll follow. What did you think?
I remember there was a great movie called A League of Their Own. And I remember in that movie there's a scene where the one girl gets so upset because Tom Hanks is the coach. And if you guys don't know the movie, did you ever see A League of Their Own, Bisping?
I did not know.
It's a great
movie.
Never
heard of it.
Okay, all right. You never heard of it? What? You need to get with the fucking program. All right. It's about, I guess, during World War II or I, whichever. I think it's World War II. All of the baseball players get drafted to go to war. So they start a female, and this is a true story, they start a female baseball league. So women start playing baseball, okay? So it's about this all-female baseball league. Starring Tom Hanks, Gina Davis.
Real high-level baseball. Yeah, go ahead.
It's fucking awful, okay? But either way, at one point, Tom Hanks is the coach of the team. He's an alcoholic, and he's yelling at the one girl, or he's yelling at the girls, and the girl starts crying. And she starts crying. And he starts to lose his shit. And there's a famous line from the movie where he goes, "Are you crying? Are you crying?" He goes, "There's no crying in baseball." And that's sort of how I feel about this. Neither of them won a world title. Neither of them are looking at their 7-year-old kid in the crowd after they fought the hardest fight of life. They're just at the weigh-ins. I just feel like you shouldn't be crying at the weigh-ins. Maybe I'm crazy. They got emotional, whatever it was just a little bit, I don't know.
I hear you, but I was going to say, Luz, you don't know what it's like, but instantly I was taken aback and reminded by, I know, you carry the scars well. You've been through the ringer, so I apologize. But once upon a time, you didn't know what it was like. For Anderson Silva, I understand his emotions. I do. I understand the emotions there. He was a long-time champion. He's been a martial artist his entire life. He had some ups and downs, suspensions, all that type of thing. And then here he is. He's in Melbourne, Australia. Huge fight against, one of the biggest stars that's emerging from the sport right now. But he's still the spider. He's Anderson Silva. And he just, generates respect wherever he goes. And he could feel the love and he could feel that, And as I say, this has been his life. So I understand that. And he got a little emotional because this is a very emotional journey that you go on as a fighter, and unless you've been through it, you don't understand all the setbacks, all the sacrifices, just the emotional turmoil that you go through as a fighter. So to a certain degree, I got it. I understood. But then there was a part of me, and I'm not trying to, there is the CIF champion waving at me. Have you calmed down now, Callum? Are you ready to be a man? Are you ready to smile? Are you ready to say, thanks for your support? Come in here. Carl, come in here. Walk it, please. Grace the podcast one time. Walk in. Come here. Come here. Put this in. Put this in. Put this in. Stand this side.
Yeah.
Yeah, come down here.
I have Chick-fil-A waiting for me.
Yeah. Okay. Come close.
Hello. How are
Speaking
you?
to the microphone.
How's everybody doing?
Come closer to the
I'm
microphone.
very close to the microphone.
No, this close.
That close.
And get that close again. And then back away again.
Whew.
And again.
Oh, it's a penis. I get it. Yeah,
Come closer.
That's funny. I like that.
How's it feel, Callum?
Feels pretty good. Very excited.
As I tried to get a picture on stage, you kind of like thwarted me away.
Well, because I just won. Like, whenever I win, I like to have my space. You know what I mean?
I'm kidding. Say hi to Louis.
What's up, Lewis?
What's going on, Callum? I wish I could. What a nice life that he has. Whenever I win, I just like to have some space. I have like 3 times in my life that I've ever won anything.
Oh,
I know.
I don't know. That's
Yeah.
That's just a sad. Now I have a 17-year-old kid feeling bad for me. I'm gonna kill myself today. Today's the day, finally.
What do you think about? We're just discussing Anderson crying and then Israel's response.
you want my just general opinions on it?
Yeah.
Don't say the F word.
Honestly, Oh wait, but you do it. Honestly, I kind of agree with what Adesanya's saying. You know what I mean? Like, he's in that mindset of fighting. You know what I mean? He's not gonna baby Anderson. They're gonna fight tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you agree?
I do agree.
Yeah. So
All right. A lot of people ask for you to come on here. So one day you got to grow a set of balls and
I can't do
and
that.
come on.
I have
Come on.
Bisping balls.
All right, dude. Have you got Chick-fil-A? Oh God, save me some. Even though I'm on a diet, and those beers or whatever they are, they better be for me. Shut the door, buddy. Yeah, close it. Sorry about that, guys. Little sidestep. A lot of people always say, get Callum on the show. And he says no. So I thought he's on the high from winning the tournament. Maybe he'll do it. I was right.
I mean, he really does have technically now the skill set because he's got the Bisping blood. Now he's a fucking champion wrestler. If he wanted to jump into MMA, he could go and do some amazing things.
Oh, absolutely, he could. Definitely. And he has the striking as well, although he doesn't have the sparring experience. But I've taken him on the pad since a very, very early age. So he can strike. He has decent striking, but not the sparring experience. But the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, the striking, it's all there. Certainly the mindset to compete at that level and win, for sure he has. And I've even spoken to the UFC and said, what do you reckon? If down the line he wanted to have a few fights,
for
would
sure
you be up for that? 100, and I got a resounding yes. So I said, listen, Cal, 3-fight contract. You come in, you wipe the floor with everybody. Then we get you a title fight, and then you retire as champ, and then you go along with your successful business career.
How much does he weigh now? 190, 195?
He just wrestled at 195. He cuts a little weight, walks around 200, 205.
So yeah, you fight at 185. It's your weight class. This is Pop's weight class. Woo!
Hey, guess what? He wouldn't have fucking pulled out with a hernia. So listen, going back to Anderson Silva, what we were talking about before. Listen, I get it. I understand it. It is an emotional journey that Anderson's been on. And he was saying, to be back, it pulled on his heartstrings. But also, the cynic in me, the cynic in me couldn't help but think, well, you wouldn't have had the break had you not tested positive for steroids. And of course, he denies that. So really, I should try and put that out of my window. But as I say, as a cynic, that's kind of where my mind went. But still, I thought it was beautiful, and he got a nice reception from the crowd. Adesanya didn't take him up on that. He didn't really, and as Callum said, they're going to fight, and he can't fanboy out on him too much. I mean, Israel's been very respectful towards Anderson. They both have back and forth. And it's going to be an incredible fight. What is Anderson? Like a 14-1 underdog or something crazy, Louis?
No, 4-1 underdog, which is like, Harrington, can I get a cup with ice, please? I'm sorry. I'm doing like sign language. It's so distracting, like for the past 5 minutes. Just
So sorry. That's distracting, trying to get Harrington to get you ice. You want to try having a conversation with the person trying to get the ice in the background, the waving, the gesturing, the clearly not listening to a fucking word that I'm saying.
I was listening, I swear to God. But you're right, because that's what here's, can I say this? All right, so people, I've gotten some comments on Instagram and on YouTube where they're like, oh, Lewis just snaps his fingers at Harrington to get him coffee every time. And it's because I don't want to stop the show 5 times a show and say, oh, hey, Harrington, get me a cup of coffee, because I feel like it's kind of distracting. So instead, I'll just literally just go like that, and I'll pick up my cup, and 95%, 96% of the people that are consuming the show are doing it through audio means, so they're none the wiser. So, but people that watch it, they think I'm literally just going, hey, fuckface. But that time I almost had to, because it was a whole to-do. You should have, I was doing the fucking worm. I was doing the Vogue. I was doing every hand signal possible to get me a fucking cup of ice until finally I had to say it. So I do apologize to everybody.
You should apologize to me. I'm pouring my heart out. I'm giving you a personal monologue of the experience and the mindset of Anderson Silva right now. And you're more concerned with the ice. Can you not just drink whatever it is at the regular temperature, just this once, and listen?
I just said that I apologize to everybody. Are you not included in everybody? What if you put yourself in your own category?
Is this a UFC 234 pre-show?
Is it, or is it not? What am I doing here? Are we speaking literally here or not? This is technically UFC 245 pre-show, if you really want to get technical.
You know, Adesanya, when you look at him, the way he performs, he's Anderson Silva, but with maybe a little more power, maybe. I don't know. No, I shouldn't say that, because Anderson had a lot of knockouts in his career as well. But Anderson's not a young man these days. He's not a young man, and the fight game is a forgiving game. So it's an unforgiving game, pardon me. And at some point, it is made abundantly clear that your best days are behind you. I will say this, and of course, I'm biased when I say this, but I feel like the only fight that Anderson showed up for in the last few years was his fight against me, right? Against Nick Diaz. That was kind of a weird fight. You know, they were both, you know, kind of messing around. His fight against Derek Brunson, he definitely didn't show up for properly. His 2 fights against Weidman, the first one he was messing around and he got knocked out. The second fight against Weidman, he snapped his leg. Against Daniel Cormier, he took the fight on 1 day's notice, you know, for the payday, and God bless him, you know, maximum respect for having the balls. Against me, I talked a lot of shit and he showed up. And in that fight, which was, it was 3 years ago now, but he showed up, and in that fight, I'm telling you, he was a handful to deal with. You know, a lot of the scars on my face came from Anderson. I feel like if that Anderson shows up, and he has been promised a title shot if he wins, if that Anderson shows up that fought me, I believe he gives Israel, I'm not saying he wins, but he gives him some problems for sure.
I mean, look, if you look at Israel, if you look at his record, he's still technically untested. He's still, you know, Brunson is a great fighter, but Brunson was sort of the biggest test of his career at that point. You know, Brad Tavares. Decision.
Brunson was the biggest test of his career, and stylistically a bad matchup as well, because Brunson in the early days used to rely on his wrestling. But in that fight, I've said it many times, so regular listeners to the show know what I'm going to say. Brunson never showed up. He'd been knocked out against Jacare, been knocked out against Robert Whitaker, knocked out against bloody everybody. And he was scared in that. You know, Israel can only do what he had to do, and that was beat him impressively in the first round, and he looked sensational. This is interesting. If the Anderson that showed up against Brunson shows up tonight, Israel's going to have a field day with him. But we've never seen Anderson get like really badly dominated. Oh, well, saying that, Chael Sonnen dominated him back in the day for 5 rounds until he got the triangle. But you know what I mean? Normally on the feet, Anderson doesn't get fucked up where it's like, holy shit, the referee needs to stop this fight. You know what I'm saying? He's always kind of in the fight.
Yeah, and also doesn't Israel have some knockout losses early in his kickboxing career? I think say that again?
Too late in his career.
Too late in his kickboxing career. I mean, look, the fact that he's been knocked out before tells you something. I mean, so has Anderson. But I'm just not wholly... look, I know that Israel Adesanya is a special athlete, but based off of what we've seen of him in the UFC so far, I'm not like, oh my God, this is why I put money on Anderson Silva, because I go, when I'm just making a decision based off of what I know about these fighters, I think that Israel should be a favorite, but I don't think that it should be that heavy of a favorite. I think it should be split almost down the middle. It's a big question mark here. You know, Anderson Silva is by far the biggest test of his career, and if Anderson Silva truly shows up, and if it's the Anderson Silva which resembles anything like the old Anderson Silva, I think that he could give Israel Adesanya a lot of problems.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed, because they got similar styles, they got similar frames. They're very similar fighters, except Israel's in his prime. Israel is in his prime. So when you look at two guys with similar sets, you got to go with the guy in his prime. But to counter the fact that he's on the prime and he's got youth on his side, Anderson has the experience. Of course, what's his face? Israel has experience in kickboxing, but not in high-level fights like this. Listen, I used to kickbox. You know what I mean? It ain't like fighting in the UFC. I've kickboxed all over the UK, small little sports halls here and there, with crowds of, 500-600 people, maybe. It's fighting in the UFC, the biggest combat sports organization in the world, is a very different experience. But he's got the crowd on his side because Israel is super charismatic. He's got bloody murals being painted of him now, which is beautiful. Great to see. I'm just looking forward to the fight as a fan. And that's why I'm so devastated about the main event as well. As a fan tonight, I was like, wow, two great fights, middleweight division, two former opponents of mine. I was pumped. I'm like, okay, I'm going to finish the podcast, turn the show on, sit down, order a takeaway, have a couple of cheeky beers, and watch the fights as a fan. Because for once, I'm not working the event as well. It's been a long time since I've had a chance to do that. So I was excited. So come on, Robert, what the fuck, man?
And also, this is Harrington just sent me this information. Apparently, Adesanya also lost his amateur MMA debut, lost his boxing debut, and both of his glory losses were title fights. So is there anything to high-pressure fights being something that, that could be trouble for Israel Adesanya? Because that's not crazy. The losses are there. When somebody says, "Oh my God, undefeated fighter," that's a very loaded title. You're like, undefeated, holy shit. But when you start to peel away those layers and go, wait, he has tasted defeat multiple times before. What do you think of that? What do you think of these losses? Do they hold any sort of value when we're looking at him now?
I don't know. I'm pausing because I'm trying to give an honest answer. I mean, they are different sports. Kickboxing and MMA are different sports, but kickboxing is what he excels at. It's like Michael Venom Page. He's fighting Paul Semtex Daly on Bellator soon, which is a fight I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
And Paul Daly was saying the same thing because Michael Venom Page in mixed martial arts is undefeated. And at the press conference, Semtex was saying, listen, you're coming over from the karate world and the kickboxing world. You used to get your ass kicked. You didn't even win gold medals. You used to win silvers and bronzes, So you're coming over here. In the sport that you were good at, you weren't even the best.
Right.
So that kind of carries over to Israel. But I don't know. I mean, listen, he's undefeated in the UFC. But he has lost at his own game. But I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question, if I'm honest, Lewis. I listen, at the end of the day, he's undefeated in mixed martial arts, and that's what we're talking about. Kickboxing, boxing, MMA, three very different sports, So at the end of the day, he's undefeated, baby. Simple as that. Simples.
We do have some callers. 573 gas line, 573-427. What is the number for Bisping?
Do we really?
We have some callers, yeah.
Okay. Before we get the first caller, I just want to say this. I said, what is the number? Louis says 573 gas line. Okay. Yeah. Anybody says that to me, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, just give me the actual number. And then you were like a 12-year-old trying to figure out something 12-year-olds don't know. I'm like, you don't even know the number to your own studio. Shame on you.
You can't, that does not warrant the shame bell. Come on. That's a little bit far.
It doesn't. I didn't give you the shame bell. I gave you a simple Michael Bisping shame on you. Okay? And
573 gas line 427-5463. There we go. 5463. 427-5463.
Well,
if you want to join the conversation, what do you think about this new main event? Who wins, Israel Adesanya or Anderson Silva? And what do you think about Robert Whitaker dropping out? Do you think that he has less balls than Michael Bisping? This is really what it's all about, is how can we compare it to the testicular fortitude of one Mr. Michael Bisping?
I hate to make it about me. I really don't. That isn't my intention. That is not my intention. But sometimes it just is, you know. All right, joking. Do we have callers?
Yeah, let's go
get
to
the first one on.
Andy. Andy in New Jersey. You're on the Believe You Me podcast with Michael Bisping, and let's go. Andy? And
Andy. Hello. Harrington.
I do always blame Harrington, even though it could be Andy.
Andy? Harrington Studio.
Here's what's funny
You
about
are-
I want to point this out because you don't know Michael Bisping. You don't get to watch this. I'm just watching Harrington stare at the phone like a dog. He's not doing anything different. He's just the same way that your dog would react to the situation.
Like, Harrington's looking at the phone the way that. So when I'm FaceTiming Rebecca and the dog's in the background, and I go, Alfie, Alfie, and Alfie goes,
Yes. He's just staring at him.
Harrington's looking, going, I see that Andy's on the line and they want to speak to Andy, but how do we make this happen?
He's just staring.
He's like,
It's
Alfie? What the fuck?
Shit, is he there? Is Andy there? No, he's not there. We don't hear him, you dumb fuck.
Is Harrington there?
barely hear you guys.
No, now we hear Andy. There he is. Andy, what's up, buddy?
Hey!
Hey guys, what's up? Big fans of the show.
Thanks, man. Let me tell you
Thank
something.
you, my man.
Hold on. I want to also point out that they did something. It didn't just magically start working. They pushed the button because I watched them both do something in the booth. I don't want you. This is not fucking. This is stupidity on Harrington's part, and it needs to be pointed out. And people give me shit about being mean to Harrington, but he's stupid, and it needs to be said.
I want to say this. Listen, a bad tradesman blames his tools. This is your studio. These are your staff. This is your fuck up.
I can barely hear you
Andy.
guys.
Oh, well, we'll fucking listen harder, my brother. Listen, thanks for calling the show, my friend. I appreciate it. What's on your mind?
I was just wondering what's on Kelvin Gastellum's face and back of the head. What is that? MRSA? Staph? Herpes?
Wait, on Kelvin Gastelum's face? Does he have some weird shit? All right. Thank you very much for the call, Andy. Pull that up. I'd love to see it. I didn't know there was
What is
some weird
that?
shit
What is
going
that?
on.
Andy coming in with the heat there. I appreciate our first ever live caller. That was a disaster, FYI. We're gonna have serious conversations off air about this. It's like, I'm embarrassed. I am so embarrassed. I've put it out to the world on my Twitter. Call in. He can hardly hear us.
Let's see.
What is wrong with Kelvin
face.
Gastelum's face?
What is it? What is it?
This here.
It doesn't even look like anything. On the back of his ew, what the fuck's on the back of his head?
Thanks, Andy, for pointing that out. Listen, it looks like a burn. It looks like a wart. It looks like a growth.
God, what?
It's literally all over. It's on his like face, his chin. It's on his hand, and then there's also a bit on the back of his neck.
Ew.
Ooh,
Yeah, it
but
looks like
but
a
even
ring-
still, he was still willing to fight.
It's true. What
It's
you know what it
like
wasn't?
He wrestles.
It
When he
wasn't
wrestles, if they have ringworm on them, which wrestlers get because they're on these dirty mats all the time, they can't compete. And he has a little bit of ringworm. So in the morning, Rebecca and Seal are out covering it all up. You do what you got to do. If you're a true competitor, if you want to make it to the tournament, you got to go. You got to make these sacrifices. But Kelvin Gastelum, perhaps see a dermatologist, I would imagine. Do we have more callers?
Yeah, we do. Are we just right? The cue that you put up here, Harrington, is that the correct order? It is? Okay. So the next caller,
let's get through these callers and let's try and hopefully this is a little more successful.
I think
Okay,
it'll
let's
work.
pretend Andy from New Jersey didn't happen.
We could just edit
All right,
it out.
Go.
Didn't even
No,
happen.
no, leave it in. It happened.
I was just kidding. I wasn't really going to edit it out, but we could just pretend we edited it out. The next caller, it's a little confusing. France from Guatemala. France from Guatemala. You're on the Believing Me podcast. He should simply just start talking now. And go.
Are you sure not calling?
Hey, he's talking.
What?
Is your name France?
Hey, what?
Yeah, hey, how are you guys? I'm watching you guys live.
Cool, man. What's
What's
up,
up, my friend? Good to.
I'm here watching
good
the
to get a
fights. I'm watching them live. Are you?
Okay. No, we're not watching them right now. We're talking to you, and we're doing a podcast. Unfortunately,
No, I mean, but you
I
can
don't have.
multitask though. That's what I'm kind
Okay,
of doing.
where
I'm
are
watching
you-
your podcast. I'm watching the fights and talking to you. But it's a pleasure,
You're
guys. And,
multitasking.
really nice talking to
You're
you.
multitasking. I like that. I like that. What's on your mind, my friend? Give me a question. Go.
I don't know. What do you think about this match with the title fight? Should they have? I mean, should they have like a backup plan, or I don't know?
All right. Thank you very much for the call, friends. Let me say this.
Yeah.
Okay.
If somebody can, hey, you need to have a better command of English. Okay.
No, that's not what I
Okay.
was going to say.
This is a disaster. This is the absolute disaster, but awesome at the same time. Okay.
I was going to say at the very least, have a question in mind. He was like, he didn't even know he was going to be on. He was like,
Yo, what's up, guys? Yeah, I'm just watching the fights. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're trying to do a show here, buddy. You got a point. You got something to say. You got a question, something on your mind, an opinion, a point of view. Don't ask about fucking random, skin defects on Kelvin Gastellum that I'm not aware of, and don't spout nonsense. Other than that, great call.
I didn't mind the Kelvin Gastellum question because who the fuck knows what was on his head? That's disgusting. And now we know. So that wasn't bad.
Hold on. Maybe he was born like that.
The Guatemala call was garbage, and he should be ashamed of himself.
Shame on Guatemala.
Next up is Hathaway from New Hampshire. You're on the Believe in Me podcast, Hathaway. You better have a good fucking question, buddy.
Harrington?
I got aggressive with him. He might have just hung up. Maybe we shouldn't shit on them before.
You scared them off. Well done. Next caller, please.
Next caller, is this Jack? Jack from Canada, you're on the Believe in Me podcast.
G'day, is this Lewis?
This is Lewis.
Hey, Lewis, how you doing, man?
What's up, pal?
What's up, Jack?
Good.
Michael Bisping here. How you doing? Thanks for calling in. We
Your
appreciate you
volume's kind
taking
of
the
low
time.
there. I don't know whether it's me or you.
I love how he's ignoring Michael Bisping. He goes, Lewis, am I on with Lewis? I was like, yeah. Mike's like, hello, I'm over here too.
I'm going to go to the toilet while you and Jack have your little bromance. Okay? Listen, I'm sorry
I
for
have
speaking.
a question for Mike.
Please go ahead, sir. Oh,
So,
you have my attention.
I've been watching Callum's wrestling career develop, and you were talking earlier in this episode about his potential UFC aspirations. I kind of had this scenario playing out in my head that I'd like you to explore. I'm kind of imagining Callum comes to you and says, "Dad, I've been busted for PEDs." How do you respond to that? What would you do? How would you, given your experience in the field and your very famous stance on PEDs, I kind of wanted to explore that scenario.
Well, thank you for the call, my friend Jack from Canada. And if you're not in Toronto on the 10th of March, you're dead to me. But okay, interesting scenario. I mean, he's actually going to college shortly, later in the year. Signed his scholarship agreement on Thursday, actually.
Where's he going?
So San Francisco State.
Awesome,
He's got a scholarship there. And I was asking that they do actually get tested. So he'll be tested there by the USADA program. So it's all going to change. The USADA may be showing up at our house if he's home for Callum instead of me. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Come on. He ain't going to fail. But if he does, he's out of the house. He's dead to me. He has to denounce the name Bisping, take on his mother's maiden name, go by the name Sidwick, and never speak to me again.
Now, if his mom wants to start using steroids to get her back in the gym and maintain that healthy lifestyle, all for it.
Squat till she's hot, all that type of shit. Yeah, I'm down. I'll allow it. Okay, but only because it makes you live longer. Only because it's healthy. That's all I'm cared about. That's all I care about. The health.
Shit. We have another caller. Harrington, we have another caller. Next up, is this Isaac or no?
Okay, thanks, man.
Who is it? What's your name? Where are you calling?
Oh, thanks, Jack.
Is Alex?
Hello?
Who is it? Who am I on the phone with right now? I'm sorry. It's not your fault. It's our fault.
You guys are terrible. Seriously, we're going to have a conversation, my word. Get the show together, guys, please, for crying out loud.
It's Hathaway from New Hampshire. He just called back.
Oh, it's Hathaway from New Hampshire. Why don't you tell me that, Harrington, instead of just putting him through, you fucking asshole? Hathaway, what's going on? Weird name. Like it. Go.
Thanks. It's British, so, it's pretty good. Sorry about dropping the call. Strong winds here in New Hampshire.
Yes.
Guys, what do you think about the fact another fighter pulling out? It keeps happening. It happened 20 times plus last year. Oh, what's going on? Is this on fighters cutting too much weight? Is this on the UFC pushing them too hard? What's going on?
Okay, Hathaway, thanks for calling in. I appreciate that. There's my light back again. Yeah, it went out for a second. Well, it's got nothing to do with the UFC. The UFC aren't pushing the fighters too hard. That's a fact. Generally, fighters fight 2-3 times a year. So it's not like they're on this crazy schedule. Cerrone fights the most out of almost anybody in the UFC. And again, you don't see him do it, I don't know, maybe 4 times, maybe even 5, but out of a year, generally 2 to 3 times. So it's not the UFC's fault. MMA is a hard sport. MMA is a really hard sport. And unfortunately, the old saying goes, you have to train the way you're going to fight. And what I mean by that is you're going to push yourself in the gym the way you want to push yourself in a fight. And if you don't, when you try and push yourself in the fight, you're going to be tired, you're going to run out of steam, and it could be a shock to the system. All of a sudden, these guys are coming at you much harder than what they were in training, and it's a shock. So it's a necessary evil. Now, you got to train smart, all this type of stuff. But with Robert Whitaker, that was just, there's nothing to do with training smart, nothing to do with pushing himself to the limit. He got a hernia. And I don't know enough about hernias. I've never had one. I've got no experience with them, unfortunately. But it's just one of those things. Now, of course, yes, that the hernia may be one of those things, but fighters showing up with injuries is commonplace. And see the point I just made about that. It's just a reality. Now, the question is that because there's more fights happening? Is it because, the UFC are putting on more events, so therefore the problem is heightened, it's more prevalent because, whereas in the past there was only 5 shows a year going back to 2004, so it never happened. And now we've got a fight nearly every weekend. So the chances of somebody dropping out is higher. Is it highlighted because of that? Or is it because fighters now want to step into the octagon totally, 100%? They're less willing to step in there injured. I don't know. Lewis, over to you while I fiddle with this light, which keeps going on and off.
I'm just looking at what hernia really is, and I didn't even realize exactly what it is. So I guess apparently an organ can start to, slip through the muscle. So that's actually what's happening.
No. From my understanding, a hernia is a muscle that pushes through the skin wall on the inside. Jesus, this light keeps going on and off. That's what I thought. I'm going to fiddle for a second.
A hernia occurs when an organ pushes through an opening in the muscle or tissue that holds it in place. For example, the intestines may break through a weakened area in the abdominal wall. Hernias are most common in the abdomen. They also could appear in the upper thigh, belly button, and groin. So it's more than just the muscle. I guess it could be, or I'm not a doctor, so I don't really understand this, but it sounds fucking painful. So I've had my son's mother's father had hernia, and he was in a lot of pain, and apparently it can be caused by lifting heavy objects and exercise. So maybe it isn't pushing himself too hard. It's just the toughest sport in the world. I think with any other sport, your body gets so used to those movements. Think about any other sport. It's a very specific movement, and in MMA, you're mixing all of these different styles, everything from grappling to striking, the way your body is twisted and shifts. To have any understanding as to what's going, if you're sparring in real time, you don't really know the load that's going to come on your body. So you're not really prepared for it the same way that I think that other athletes are prepared for it.
3 things to say. Firstly, Harrington, split screen, please. Can't see myself. I don't know what I'm doing. Second thing, you said it all depends on how the load comes on your body. Don't know if I agree with that statement.
right.
I don't think any loads are coming onto any bodies. And thirdly, I have a statement from Dana White here. He actually says the headline is Dana White says, thank you, Harrington. Dana White says that the injury could have been life-threatening. He says, this is one of those freak accidents where the doctor said he'd literally never seen this type of injury. Alfie! Back! Take a shot. Yeah, the doctor said, where was he? Never seen this type of injury in a young person. This usually happens to old people. Do you think he's had this problem and it's been going in and out and the load coming on the person? And it's one of those situations, had it popped out during the fight, it could have been fatal. I know, it's loaded with so many double entendres, innuendos all over the place. Hold on, where is it? I keep losing track of it. Had it popped out during the fight, it could have been fatal for him. We don't know exactly what happened with the doctor. Hopefully they popped it back in and sewed it up. And if that's the case, it'll be 4 weeks. But this was a freak injury. So yeah, it is just one of those things. It is. I know I was having a bit of fun at Robert's expense at the top of the show, but if it's a freak injury and one of those things, it sucks, but it sounds like nobody's to blame. Sounds like it couldn't have been avoided. They're saying it's a freak injury. And listen, human body's a weird thing. Had he been an MMA fighter, maybe that wouldn't have happened. But if he wasn't an MMA fighter, he wouldn't be in the main event and we wouldn't be having these discussions. Right. It's a hard job. It's a hard sport. You push yourself to the limit on a daily basis. You follow a strict diet. You sacrifice so much. And the human body is a complicated system. It really is. And things go wrong from time to time. I don't think it's anybody's fault. And I just hope they reschedule the fight soon. I hope Kelvin gets some kind of compensation for his efforts, for the fact he traveled down there. Yeah, that's about that. Any more callers or?
Harrington, you tell me what we have next. You tell me, because I don't want to fucking embarrass myself anymore. Okay, he's checking. He's double checking. Measure twice, cut once. That's what they say. I like that.
Hey, what's up, boys?
It's Alex from LA.
Alex from LA. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how you guys doing? Big fan.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you very much, Alex. I appreciate that, my friend. What's on your mind?
I'm just trying to figure out what's going to happen to the middleweight division, now that Bobby Knuckles is out once again. Do you give Israel another fight? How does it work? Is it fair to kind of have him fight again for an interim title, or what's the deal?
I don't think they're going to do an interim title. We were just speaking a second ago. Hopefully, if the operation is a success, 4 weeks, he'll be back up and running. So they'll probably stick this fight on another pay-per-view, maybe 2-3 months, 3-4 months, who knows, down the line. The sad thing for Robert Whitaker is that won't be in Australia. And if that time frame is to be believed and is accurate, there's no need for an interim title fight. And it seems that Robert is a little bit injury prone, though, so which is concerning for such a great fighter, and he's still kind of young. He has struggled with injuries, there's no threat to the middleweight division. It is what it is, So yeah. Anything else before we let you go?
No, he's gone already. Next caller, who is it? Harrington.
This is Donna from Dublin.
Donna from Dublin. What's going on? I think it's a chick. Nice.
No,
yeah,
it's
Donna.
not.
Yeah, Donna.
They got my name wrong.
Oh, they got his name wrong. Never mind. We're calling you Donna anyway.
Harrington. Right, Donna.
Sorry,
give us your best
say
shot,
that to me
buddy.
again?
Donna, give us your question, my friend.
I'm allowed to ask about non-MMA, right?
Sure.
Please.
Lewis, what happened to the Dice Cast? It's just disappeared off my Apple Podcast subscription.
Oh, Dicecast? He only did one. We did a season. It's seasonal. We're still talking to Dice. We love Dice. I think he did 16 episodes for his first season. And he's super busy. He did a movie television show. So hopefully he'll be coming back for a second season, but we don't have anything to officially announce yet.
Hey, if you want to ask those fucking questions, go ask it on the Real Ass fucking podcast. Believe you me, centric motherfucker. Roll on with your next shot. Go. Doesn't have to be about. Does it? Hey, can we ask non-MMA? I said, yeah. You didn't say, can we talk about Lewis's other podcasts? Okay. We're not here to talk about Lewis's other podcasts. Okay. Got a question, Donna, fucking Donna from Dublin.
It was Ireland too. I thought for sure he'd be asking about Bisping. All right, next question. We don't have that much more time. We only have about another 7-8 minutes on the air right now. So do we have another person who's calling?
Yeah, this is Ethan from Louisville.
Ethan from Louisville. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, doggies? I can't really hear you that well, but Lewis, I love everything you do. Michael Bisping, you're awesome. I just wanted to see what you guys thought about the way ESPN was marketing the prelims they had. They had like they illustrated it like how they marketed how they do with like Anderson and Adesanya, but it was like two guys that you didn't even know their name, you know?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he means by marketing.
Yeah, I never saw that. Could you elaborate?
Yeah, sorry. On the app, like if you go look on the app or if you're watching ESPN at all, like they kept marketing like the main fighters in the prelims, but they were just people nobody's ever even heard of. And I don't know, I was just seeing how ESPN was coping with the like this is the first time they've not had the main event, you know, on the ESPN Plus.
So are you saying that they're almost presenting the marketing side of it like these guys are a big deal, but they're unknown, so it's a little weird for you?
Whoa.
Yeah.
No. No, hold on. But what you got to understand is this. I understand what you're saying. You're like, well, why are they pushing the undercard fighters and not pushing the main event, co-main event? That's what you're asking, right?
Yeah, sorry, it's hard to hear you, but yeah. Well, I'm saying that they were well, basically I'm saying that they were marketing.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. ESPN Plus, they're gonna be showing the prelims. And then the main card is on pay-per-view, right? So they're trying to, you know, understandably from their perspective, they're trying to invite everybody to watch the prelims on ESPN Plus, and on the prelims will be fighter XYZ. In the main event, it's not going to be on their platform. It's going to be a UFC pay-per-view. Does that answer your question? Is that the question you're asking? I think it is. And if so, does that answer it?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, just I'm saying that they were advertising it and putting Adesanya versus Silva on ESPN, but then they were saying prelims in like real small font next to it, and like it was trying to catch like the casual fan into almost buying the prelims, you know?
Oh, I get what he's saying now. He's saying it was like they were going Israel Adesanya versus Anderson Silva tonight, ESPN Plus, and then it was really, but it was like these are the prelims. Okay.
Yeah. I get it. Listen, that's business. That's what you do.
Come
you
on,
know
baby
what I mean?
boy.
You know, and if anybody follows the sport closely enough, they know tonight it's a pay-per-view. And the event is Israel. It's, I don't know what they're calling it. Adesanya versus Silva versus Adesanya, UFC 234, Gastellum versus Whitaker. You know, that is what the event is called. You know, so they're still going to call it that event. And of course, their section of the broadcast will be the prelims. You know, so I understand what you're saying there, buddy, and thanks for the call. I appreciate it. But I have no issue with that. I mean, that's business 101.
Yeah.
And that is also leading the buyers, you know, it's leading them towards buying the pay-per-view and funneling the traffic that way as well. You know, and that's the way it goes. That's business.
It's almost like a Trojan horse effect, right? So maybe they're Trojan horsing in, you know, people are going to go like, oh, what's going on? I know these names, and maybe they're not exactly as clear as you know, they should be with, you know, letting them know that it's the prelims. But when people tune into ESPN Plus, they're going to see some incredible fights. And at the end of the day, they're using the name of these bigger fighters to sort of capture the attention. You know, I wouldn't be upset if somebody, you know, you're getting to go and watch these incredible fighters and these incredible fights. And ESPN Plus, what is the deal with that app? How do you download the app? How much is it?
I haven't done that. Oh, well, I think it's around about $5 a month. It's about that. If I'm off, I apologize, but I haven't done it yet. But I do need to get it. That's why I didn't have them playing at my end. Of course, I came in from the wrestling tournament. I just made it here in time. If I wanted to have them on, I'd have to download the app. Then I'd have to subscribe, put all my payment details in, you know, for the $5 a month, then have it playing. So I haven't done that yet. But yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying there, Lewis. I do. Is that all the callers? I was a little disappointed. I thought people would call in and bust balls. Oh, we do. Come on then.
We have there's a whole queue of callers trying to get online right now, Mr. Bisping.
All right. Listen. So far, I gotta say I'm disappointed with the calls. I'm just throwing it out there. I love you all for listening to the show, but come on, we're trying to have a laugh.
Can I
Stop
say
asking
this?
the same question once after the other. And don't ask about, I'm telling you now, don't ask about Lewis's other fucking shows.
It was,
okay?
first of all, two things.
Otherwise,
Number one, it wasn't my other show. It was another show on the network. Okay. Number two,
well,
do you remember the radio?
You mean the net? I mean, you mean the network that you own? So therefore, your other shows, dickhead.
No, I have my other shows. I host 3 shows myself. Number two, do you remember the radio show? Were the calls ever good? Calls are not good. Calls have never been good. What's good about the calls is that they're bad. That's it.
No. Shame on you. Listen, this next call, I don't know who it is, whoever you are, from what city, country, whatever you're calling in from, but prove Lewis wrong. And without further ado, Harrington, line up that call flawlessly, no mistakes. Who we got on the line?
Isaac from Texas.
What's up, Isaac from Texas? Take your best shot, my friend.
Sorry? Hello?
Yeah, you there, Isaac?
Hey.
Yeah, there we go. Now I can hear you. What's up?
What's up, buddy? What do you got to ask?
So I have a question for Michael.
Okay, fire away.
So suppose you didn't suffer that eye injury early on in your career, well, early, middle, and your last 2 fights still had the same outcome. Do you think you'd still be fighting to this day?
Oh, thank you very much, Isaac from Texas.
That's a good question. That was a good question right there. I like it. Good job, Isaac.
Did I miss something?
No, you nailed it, dude.
No, you didn't. It was a great question. Thank you very much, Lewis. Have a bit of respect. We were just talking about something off air. Sorry, it was a great question, Isaac. Thank you very much. You know what? I don't know. Probably because, as a fighter, you want to be the champion. You lose the belt. You've been there. You've done it. For me, part of the reason, of course, I had injuries. That was part of the reason I hung it up. But I'd also done combat sports for most of my life. Started when I was 8 years old. I retired at 39. So, 30 years getting punched in the face, that seems like enough to me, So, obviously, no one ever wants to go out on 2 losses, and that was the first time I'd lost back-to-back. But probably, my friend. Thank you, Isaac. Appreciate the call. Have a great night. Enjoy the fights tonight, and thank you, sir. Very much appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna have to wrap this one up here in just a minute.
Hey. Poor Isaac. He's not still on the line, is he?
No, he's gone.
All right. Isaac sounded like a nice guy. He's asking a nice question, Lewis, and you start laughing your head off. You mock him, and he's like, "Have I missed something?" It was like, these people are speaking to the hero, Lewis.
I'm not the hero. I'm no one's hero. So.
Oh dear. Listen, callers, thank you very much for calling in. But next time, bring the heat. Bring the heat. We're gonna have to get our own little whack pack. The Howard Stern whack pack. We'll get the BYM whack pack.
I like it. Isaac's the first member. He's our Gary the Retard.
Honorary whack pack.
He's our honorary Gary the Retard. Isaac from
what's she called? The one.
Yeah. Isaac the Retard.
What's she called? Wendy the slow adult. Oh my God.
Okay, let's wrap this one. Look, we got a UFC 224 starting right now. The intro just kicked up.
All right, whoa, real fast. I know you put money on Anderson Silva. Predictions right now. Harrington, who wins the main event? Go.
He's producing right now. Harrington, who wins the main event? Go. Who do you like?
Anderson Silva.
Anderson Silva. Wow. I agree.
Everyone else in the studio, let's make predictions. Go,
Brian.
Lewis.
I also have Anderson Silva.
Wow, Anderson Silva getting a lot of love here at the Gas Digital Studios. Michael Bisping, you're the one. Do you defer from the team?
It's really hard for me to give an objectional pick, right? Because earlier conversations and episodes of the show, I always say if you fought somebody and you beat them, you always want them to win. And if you've lost to them, you always want them to win again. And I had a real fight with Anderson Silva and I won that fight, but it was a tough fight. And I believe that if that Anderson Silva shows up tonight, I believe he can beat Israel Adesanya. And based on the fight because if he wins, he fights for the belt. I think he shows up motivated, in shape, and I say Anderson Silva gets the win. But again, that could be influenced by the fact that I'm a little bit of an egomaniac and I fought him and beat him. So therefore, he can beat anybody. But if Israel wins, God bless him. Lewis, we know you've got Anderson, right?
I got Anderson. That's it. Maybe I'm picking with my heart. I don't know. I think Israel's great, but I do think Anderson, he's been in the big show too many times. He's beaten and fought the best in the world, and Israel's got a lot to prove still. So we'll see.
You do know we're going against everyone else that's picking, all the bookmakers, all the experts. We're going against everybody. We're going against the grain. And this is a 4-0. 4 people, Gas Digital Studios, Believe You Me podcast producers. We're all saying Anderson wins. We're going to look like fools, okay? Next time, mix it up a little bit, because we got no credibility if Anderson loses.
That's very true. Thanks for listening, guys. Make sure if you love the show, go to our YouTube channel right now. Subscribe on our YouTube channel. Subscribe on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star ranking, positive review. Every episode we've ever done is available at gasdigitalnetwork.com. In video, you get you pre-release on all the episodes, ad-free, uncensored. Use the promo code BYM at gasdigitalnetwork.com for a 14-day free trial. This is it, baby boys. Go enjoy UFC 224. We will be back on Monday with a wrap-up show. Maybe we're going to be right. We all pick Anderson Silva. We'll see what happens.